And now it's my happy privilege to introduce you to a person who's making a golden difference in our schools. Kendra Ruth Martinez is the Director of Development and School Liaison for the Agreed program. Would you please welcome Kendra Ruth?
All righty. Pat, you are a little short. The golden rule, treat others the way you would like to be treated, which means I do like being teased, Pat, so you can dish it right back. It involves quiet moments, pondering how you like to be treated, and then as you treat others that way, continuing to learn about them. My name is Kendra Ruth, and I am the Development and School Liaison for Arizona Golden Rule Education, otherwise known as AGREE. We are a nonprofit, non-religious approach to teaching the Golden Rule in schools. Our materials and our lesson plans can be used for character development, and they are aligned with Arizona state standards. One thing I love about AGREE is it is made by Arizonans for Arizonans, unique, and we continually work with Arizona schools providing visits, trainings. We provide developing new educational resources. Everything we offer is free, thanks to funding from the Golden Rule Specialty License Plate. In your program, we've developed a very special exercise for you. It is an opportunity to reflect on the Golden Rule, and then how can you share that with someone else, putting the Golden Rule into action. So I'm really excited because I get to provide a few things that are happening in our Golden Rule schools, or schools throughout our state. We have schools that are reporting stories that bring you to tears, that really show you that Golden Rule education works. So a few of these examples I'll start with is Children's Campus and Premier Children's Center in Phoenix. They are working so hard to make sure that every student that walks through their doors knows what the Golden Rule is. And a quote from a recent staff member remarked, "We've seen changes. We've heard parents say that their child is teaching them how to speak with kindness at home because that's what they're learning at school." At Ash Creek Elementary in Pierce, Arizona, one of our Golden Rule schools, fourth grader Valeria told me this story personally in an interview. She was so excited, and these are her words. "There was a little boy I met," she said. "We did not treat each other very good. We got into arguments every day, but I did little things for him, and we started to make a friendship. I've seen him grow every single day and make more and more friends." And finally, in addition to the aforementioned schools, students at Arts Academy at Estrella Mountain and Champion Schools at South Mountain created beautiful drawings for that service project outreach that you saw on the big screen, helping bring joy and happiness to the homeless community. They are part of our growing Golden Rule family throughout the whole state. So schools, I am here to invite all Arizona schools to do three things: to use our resources in your classrooms, to teach the Golden Rule on your campus, and then apply to become a Golden Rule school. And by applying, it simply means you state, we are going to teach the Golden Rule on our campus. It is fun, it is uplifting, and it works. So now I am pleased to share with you a short video spotlighting East Valley High School, which is one of our first and only Golden Rule high schools. They have done such an amazing job of showing us what a Golden Rule school looks like, sounds like, and feels like. So now I present to you this video. Enjoy.
I'm John Baker, principal of East Valley High School, a free public charter school in Mesa, Arizona, and proud to announce that we are a Golden Rule school. I'm a former Marine and Phoenix police officer. When I was an officer, I seemed to come across the same teenagers over and over again, and I would arrest them for the same acts. I wasn't breaking any cycle. It was the same repetitive behavior over and over again. And so I thought education is where I could go to possibly impact a child's life and change that cycle. When I got to East Valley High School, What I found was that kids didn't care about themselves, they didn't care about others, they didn't care about the language that they used. They were just downright disrespectful sometimes. I was friends with someone who was a part of the Agree program, and so I immediately reached out and said, this is the place that the Golden Rule can have the biggest impact. And started with the staff, showing the students how to treat each other regardless of how we were being treated. We still treated them with respect and kindness, with empathy and being civil. Well, what happened was they immediately started to display that back and started living the Golden Rule without even realizing they're living the Golden Rule. Their behavior changed, their attitude changed, their respect for others changed, their respect for themselves changed, how they worked in the classroom and their desire to improve. And what happened was we went from a school that had 67% graduation rate to a 94% graduation rate in just 1 year. The Golden Rule and the Agree curriculum helped us break the cycle that these kids were on.
Everyone here is like super duper positive. Like everyone, like if they see you like in a corner or something, like if you're by yourself, like students here like will come up to you and be like, oh, come on, you want to come hang out and stuff like that. And that's what happened to me. That's how I made a great friends.
This school like just doesn't tolerate bullying at all. Even like the students just don't tolerate it. So if they ever saw like a student getting bullied, they would stand up for that.
I feel like the leaders of this school have done a really good job, because I feel like if we didn't have those leaders, the Golden Rule wouldn't have really hit the way that it did.
That the attitude, the overall attitude and morale of the students is like, these teachers are actually proud of us. They're actually proud of us and looking upon us with favor when we do the right thing and we do good.
I think more schools should do the Golden Rule and implement Agree and see the change that they could have in their schools as well. Now these kids live the Golden Rule. They speak the Golden Rule, and they treat others the way they want to be treated regardless of how they're being treated. Good evening. What an incredible honor it is for me to be here. Kendra, thank you so much for this opportunity and for all your support and help. First, I would like to at least recognize our executive director, Kathy Tolman. Without her, I couldn't do what I'm doing with her support. So thank you so much, Kathy, for supporting me and allowing us to be a Golden Rule school. So we also have one of our students here who wrote one of the Golden Lives essays and was one of the winners and is an absolute example of what the Golden Rule is at our school. Jacob Kavanaugh, such an amazing young man here with us tonight. You know, I have to tell you, I never would have thought that I would be standing here 3 years ago when I was sitting in a dear friend of mine, Leanne Basha, in her home, and she was presenting the Golden Rule. I fell in love with it instantly. And then when I became the principal of East Valley High School and I called and I said, this is where we need the Golden Rule. And she said, well, I happen to have a ticket for the Golden Rule Banquet. It's tonight. Do you want to go? So I came here 2 years ago to be a part of this program and absolutely fell in love with it and wanted to bring it to my school. Well, what I'd like to do is just kind of share a recent experience with how the Golden Rule has changed the life of a student. And I'm sorry if I get emotional, but this young lady is an amazing young lady who has come from a very hard background. She's been at our school for 2 years, and no child should have to experience what she's experienced in such a short period of time. Well, because of that, she didn't necessarily follow the rule this particular day in the classroom and didn't like the consequence that was coming her way, and so she got upset. And she was sent to the principal's office. So she comes into my office and she's very upset, but she wasn't upset at me, but that frustration and anger quickly turned to me, and she told me some places where I could go and visit for a while, and she even told me how I could get there in great detail. But because the Golden Rule is so important to me, it was important that at that moment I was living the Golden Rule. And I showed her respect. I loved her. I handled the situation with civility, and I could empathize with where she had come from and why she was acting the way she was acting, because it wasn't something in that moment. Well, she did get her consequence, and it was a few days before she was able to come back to school. But when she came back, I happened to be away from my office, and I come around the corner, and she's sitting outside my office. And I walked up, and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's so good to see you. I'm so glad you're here. And she said, Mr. Baker, can I talk to you for a minute? And I'm like, sure, come on in. And she immediately got emotional and started to weep. And she said, can I just tell you, when I went home, I went into my room, and I just cried. I cried because I have never had someone love me like you loved me when I was acting that way. And I just want to ask for your forgiveness. Please forgive me for how I acted, and know that I love you and I'm going to be better. The Golden Rule changes lives. If you're a parent, if you're a grandparent, if you're a teacher, if you're an administrator, if you're a friend of a teacher, if you're a friend of an administrator, please do all you can to get the Golden Rule and the Agree program in your school. It changes lives. We can change a student's life just by showing them the Golden Rule. Thank you.
Thank you so much.